Hi guys, did you know that Latin America is actually the land of the unicorn? In fact, last year there were 10 new unicorns created. So let's find out who they are and what they do. But first, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on this video so I can keep on doing these. Thank you. First company that we're going to be looking at is called Betterfly. It's a startup from Chile, founded in 2018 by two brothers, which I think is very neat. And they're a mix of insurtech, health tech, and well-being. And basically, as described by the founder, they focus on prevention, protection, and purpose. Okay. So essentially, what they do is they bring a bunch of services like telemedicine, meditation, so on and so forth, and they reward those that can prove, I guess, somehow that they are having or developing good habits, such as running or gym or whatever kind of other things that they deem beneficial. Um, the way that it works is they charge companies a fixed fee. From what I was able to find, they charge companies here in Colombia somewhere around like $4 per employee, and then the employee gets access to a bunch of services that they have. And they work here with Chubb, which is a huge insurance company, and they also have this thing about I mentioned purpose at the beginning. They have these things called better coins, which you earn as you do good things, like again going to the gym, running, whatever. Um, I found this a little bit complicated. I'm not really sure how they fund it, but then you're able to, once you earn these, you're able to donate to good causes like hunger in Venezuela or these kind of things. So, really cool company. And I also wanted to shout them out because from what I found in Grojo, they made 100 million revenue last year, which is impressive. So, shout out to the team and shout out to Helga, which I know from my past life. So good job, guys, and I hope you keep growing. Then the next company we're going to be looking at is called Nowports. This is a Mexican startup. It was also founded in 2018 by two Stanford grads that met there, and this is essentially a full service logistic partner, which I love because I think this is kind of those unsexy industries that people don't really kind of like necessarily are gravitating towards, but is huge. Like probably trillions of dollars is my assumption. And it provides you all the services that you need to transport, control, and analyze your logistics in what seems like a really slick platform. Um, Apparently, it is very complicated and requires a lot of paperwork and man hours to do this job today. And instead, they've digitalized everything with sensors and like I guess digital processes, and you can track in real time where your shipping is. You can get all the expense reports and basically control everything. And they have great partnerships with people, not only where you import from, but where you're exporting from. So they sort of bridge those gaps. And I love it. I listened to a podcast with one of the founders, very sharp guy. This was the Mexican guy, and there's also a guy from Uruguay. So shout out to them. I think they're going to be great. Yeah, I love these sort of unsexy industries. This is not AI. This is not blockchain. This is logistics. This is, a hard one, and I think they're doing great from everything I was able to research. Now we're going to be looking at Albi. This is a special one because this was the only unicorn that was from Colombia last year. So massive kudos to the team and everyone that's involved. You guys are super inspiring. And what they do, they're basically a prop tech that is focused on residential buying and selling of properties. And they're also, in a way, a sort of iBuyer, right? You might have heard this from Zillow or other companies in the States. Um, so what they do is using big data and machine learning and I guess like other complicated stuff, and also like people walking on the streets, which is I think an important part. They're able to figure out what the appropriate price is. They obviously take a cut, then they make you an offer, and then if they have to, they remodel and resell that property. So um, they also are you're also able to buy a list and buy properties just like a marketplace. And this is pretty cool. In the iBuying. I think their coolest selling proposition is that they'll buy your home in 10 days. So this is pretty impressive and uh, something that is a really cool business proposition. I will say, even though I'm very proud of them and I think this is really cool, I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of the iBuying. Um, if you, as I mentioned before, Zillow, they, you can ask them. I mean, they lost, according to some reports, 880 million in 2021. There may have been mismanagement or whatever, but this was a loss in a housing bull market. So I think it's a very complicated business. The arbitrage is that it's based on I think is kind of flawed because any arbitrage is by definition going to get filled by the market at some point. So I think that it's also very operationally intensive. So that's one of my concerns. Um, so yeah, and secondly, I think that if in terms of the marketplace, I think that it's a pretty crowded space. There's La House, there's other established players like Finca Raiz, but nevertheless, I think that what they've done up to this point is impressive. They raised a ton of money. I know some people that are involved, and there's great people working there, so I'm sure that they're going to do a lot of cool stuff. Now, we also have another one that is personal and close to my heart. It's called Kushti. This is the first Ecuadorian unicorn, which is awesome. And also, I've been able to work with them throughout my job, not directly, but through clients. And one of the things that I would love to point out is that they have one of the best customer services that I've seen. Their agents are super fast, so shout out to that part of their business. This was founded in 2017, and basically they are a payment platform. They use a lot of APIs and they connect you with credit cards and other kind of in-store payments. So this is pretty cool. Um, from what I was kind of able to guess, I think that they probably did around $50 billion in transactions last year. So if you can kind of guess like a 3% take rate, that's 1.5 billion in revenue. I may be off by a lot. I hope not. But if it's so, like, congrats to them. About this one, I guess that my concern would be that I think payments is kind of a thing that is commoditized, right? By like how the internet works and how the industry works. This seems to be something that is a race towards zero, right? So basically, one of the biggest ways that they can compete is lowering transaction fees, and this obviously hurts their bottom line. But I and this is also like this is not just me saying it. Like here you can see an article of them pointing out like what's the biggest difference, and here they say uh, it's in Spanish, but they say that you will able to transact in debit and credit at a lower cost. So even they sort of know this, and I think that one of the things that's going to be hard for this industry in general is how are they going to differentiate, right? So either way, they've been able to raise a lot of money as well. They have a great team from everything that I've heard, and super proud of them being the first Ecuadorian startup. So shout out to y'all. Now let's look at Doc from Brazil. This company was actually founded in 1997, which is pretty cool. And essentially, I really like this one because it's infrastructure for fintech. So the way that it's being portrayed or it's being called is banking as a service. So the thing that you can do is essentially white label any product that you have. So meaning things like banking, cards and credit, acquiring, and risk and fraud, for whatever your company or startup is, which is amazing. I think it's really cool. Also, as you can see, they claim to have done a over 7 billion transactions per year, which is roughly about 800, $180 billion annually, and this is massive. So kudos to them. I think this is one of my favorites, and it sounds really cool. And what this does is give credit cards without all the bureaucracy involved. They focus on young people, entrepreneurs, and people without, let's say, a lot of credit history. Okay, so This is obviously interesting. It's a big market. However, I did find out that they charge anywhere from 69 to 99% interest, which I think is a lot. Maybe it's in line with what is charged in Mexico, but in my opinion, that's a lot either way. However, you do have to understand that there is obviously a risk giving money to people that are not used to credit. So I can understand why they try to play it safe. Um, if you want to open a bank account, a credit card with them, then you only need your cell phone, an email, and basically in terms of the paperwork, what's called the INE, which is your voting registry, and a place where you can prove your address that is no older than 3 months. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty simple, and it's also backed by Afirme, which I understand is a pretty big bank in Mexico. Then let's look at Neon. Neon is, as you can see, it's a digital account made for Brazilians. So this was founded in 2016, and the company offers basically a couple of products. You can get credit cards, you can get personal loans, you can get payroll loans, and this is cool. This is one of the what is called neobanks, and what's cool about this one is that it's backed by BBUVA, BBVA, which is a great seal of approval. They not only back it, let's say on the back end, but they also funded their entire round, which is pretty amazing. So kudos to them. Then we have an Argentinian company called Technises, and interestingly enough, this was founded in 1995, which is a proof of how long they've been around and probably how good their service is. And what they offered is a series of APIs of products that you can again white label, and they're trying to make your bank more digital and more differentiated. So this is interesting as the race for digital products in the fintech industry ignites and gets harder and harder. Banks like here you can see a couple like HSBC, Itaú, and others are using their products and then giving them to the client. So um, this is a pretty interesting model, and just to be sure, this company was actually acquired last year. It didn't just raise; it got acquired, and it got acquired by a big group in the U.S. that's called SoFi. So kudos to them. Kudos to them for having an exit. That's awesome, and congratulations on having what, from everything I could see, a really cool product that a lot of banks will be using in the future. Now, let's look at Yaidu. This is a Mexican fintech, and this is specialized in four main products that they offer: Por Cobrar, Buyer, Vendor Place, and Oyster. And essentially, what they focus on is the automatization of financial processes. So this is technology that helps for payments, for invoicing, for conciliation, and reporting. So this is also pretty cool. I like what I see in terms of their UI. It looks very sleek. So yeah, I think this is a cool company. And what I like is that you can have everything in one platform, which often ends up being in a bunch of Excels, a lot of different software. So this is pretty cool. As you can see here, they claim to have over a 50,000 companies using them, so that's really impressive. Lastly, let's talk about Jeeves, and this is essentially a all-in-one financial stack for business growth. That's the way that they sell themselves, as you can see here in the at the top. And the way that they do this is they have four lines of business. The first one, which accounts for 45% of the revenue, according to the CEO, is credit cards. Then they have a part of B2B payments. They also have working capital lending and a venture debt. So, according to a couple of articles that I could find, and based on like some approximate math, they finished 2022 with about 5,000 customers, which is approximately 60% growth from the previous year. So that's really cool. What the platform allows is companies to track all their expenses in one same place. And Then as they move on in the funnel, then they're able to give you all these other products like the working capital and those kind of things, right? So as a business model, I think it makes a lot of sense. They probably have really good data on you, so that's also that I like their business model. Um, the only thing and the reason why I kind of left it towards the end is I'm not really sure why this is exactly a Latin American startup. From what I could see, the founders are not Latino. The company is based in the US. The founder says he lives in Miami. So, yeah, they're targeting the Latin market, but it doesn't seem like that's exactly uh, like worthy of being called a Latin American startup. Um, and then just as a pointer, I could see that their revenues were 28 million in last year, which to me seems like a big stretch to get to a 2.1 billion valuation, which is what they last raised at. But then again, like maybe these are normal metrics, and to be fair, there has been like crazy hockey stick growth, so there's also that. But yeah, it's either way. Despite of those two things, I think it's a great company. I like their business model. Everything about their branding is super slick. So congrats to them. So there you have it. Those are the 10 companies that became unicorns in 2022 in Latam. They're all really interesting. They all have, for the most part, great business models and great teams. So I really hope for them to keep on growing, keep on showing that we have great talent, great ideas, and great businesses here in Latam. You guys are all paving the way, so I want to commend you guys for it. I hope if you ever, any of you guys in the team see this video, let's talk. I would love to meet any of y'all, so I'll leave you guys with that. And to anyone else watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's your job. My job is to keep on making videos. See you guys in the next one.